Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you with us. You know, I've been doing some videos with CarbQuick lately because it works so well on my low-carb diet. And I decided to make some fried chicken using CarbQuick as the breading. You know, I love fried chicken, and all of that breading is sometimes a little bit much for my low-carb diet. It turned out great. So I'm going to show you how I did it. But if you will, give us a thumbs up if you like our videos, and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notices when I post new videos. Now let's get cooking. And this is CarbQuick. It is a low-carb baking mix. You can get it from Amazon. You can get it from Tova Industries. I'll put a link in the info section. So I like to make up this combination of herbs and spices. I start with a half teaspoonful of salt, and then I'm going to put a half teaspoonful of garlic powder. This is a quarter teaspoon of thyme, quarter teaspoon of oregano, a quarter teaspoon of paprika. I'll put all this in the info section, by the way. Quarter teaspoon of tarragon, and a quarter teaspoon or a pinch of rosemary. And I just mix them all together, and I'll finish putting these in. I'm going to use this as a marinade. Now I already have my chicken in some buttermilk, and I'm just going to do a couple chicken thighs because I'm eating alone tonight and I don't want to overcook. Now, when I'm just making regular southern fried chicken, I don't put this many spices in it. But with CarbQuick brings its own flavor that's a little different than flour. And it's not a bad flavor, it's just a different flavor. So I add some spices and herbs. Now, I'm going to put 1 cup of the CarbQuick in here. And if you watch my videos, you'll know that I've used a food processor and blend it up a little bit before I use it because you can't sift it. So that's 1 cup of CarbQuick and 1 teaspoonful of baking powder. And the purpose of the baking powder is it makes the CarbQuick a little flakier as you're using it. You know, when you fry chicken and that crust is crunchy and lovely, that you want to try to recreate that, and I always add baking powder to the flour. Just gives you a little extra crunch. And here's my chicken. I've had it already soaking in buttermilk. I didn't add the spices yet just because I hadn't mixed them up. But this has been in the fridge in buttermilk since last night. And I'm going to put some of these spices on. Or rather, I'm going to put all of these spices on and then put it back in the fridge for a couple hours before I actually fry the chicken. So I'm just going to turn it over, make sure I get those spices all over it. And you know, you can use any spice profile you like. I sort of adapted this from a KFC copycat that I saw somewhere. It's not exactly the same. That generally has some dried mustard in it, and I don't have any dried mustard, but this is a yummy mixture. So back in the fridge for a couple hours, and this is what I've got. Now I've got my CarbQuick ready. And I actually have way more CarbQuick than I need. You could probably do a whole chicken with that 1 cup. So I'm afraid I'm going to be a little bit wasteful here. So I just take the chicken out and let it drain off a little bit. I don't want to drain off all the buttermilk because that's going to hold my breading on. But just let it drip off. And then I want to bread it really well. And sometimes when you're breading chicken like this, you have to press it down in to get it to stick. You know, this really sticks just as well. It stays on, it adheres just as well as flour does. And the more I use this stuff, the more I like it. But I have found that the more, if what you want is the exact flour flavor, you're not going to get it. But as you use it, you find out that there are certain spices and flavorings and herbs that you can add that make that difference unnoticeable. I'm going to finish breading these and I'll be right back. I'm doing a second dip in the breading. I didn't dip it again into the buttermilk. I have a cast iron pan, cast iron skillet on the stove on medium heat with enough oil to fry these. I'll show it to you in a second. These are ready to go. I'm going to meet you at the stove. Okay, I have about a half an inch of oil in here, and I've got the heat on medium. And I dropped a little piece of the breading in. You see how it sizzles, so it's ready to go. And you don't want to let your heat get more than halfway with this. I'll give you a full disclosure here. Normally when I fry chicken, I cover the pan. But I've never fried chicken with CarbQuick before, and I don't really know how it's going to act. So I'm not covering it because I want to watch it. And I should have covered it. Next time I'll cover it. Because if you cover it, you can cook it for a little bit shorter time and get it done in the middle. So I'm setting my timer for 3 minutes. And because I'm new to this, I'm going to kind of watch it as I go. But we'll cook it on the first side for 3 minutes. And this is what I have after 3 minutes. You can see that it started browning on the sides. And you know the rule for frying is you put it in the pan and you leave it alone until the breading lets go. That's how you keep your breading on it. So I've got it about right here. And I have to say the CarbQuick, it didn't let go quite the same as flour. I had to give it a little bit of a nudge. So I'm going to flip it over here. And oh look, you know, that's a nice golden brown. Yes. A little bit of the breading came off, but not much. I think we're good here. Set my timer again for 3 minutes and I'll be back. So after the 3 minutes, I flipped it over again and now I'm going to check it for doneness. Now, this is a boneless piece of chicken. You're going to have to cook it longer if you're cooking regular chicken pieces. I've still got a little pink in there, so I'm going to let it cook about another 2 minutes. So altogether, this boneless chicken has cooked for about 8 or 9 minutes when you consider the flipping time and the total time while I checked it. And it's getting pretty brown, but if you had put the lid on, as I said, it won't get that brown because it'll get hotter. It'll hold the temperature in. So I'm going to let this finish and check it again, and then I'm going to plate it up and show you what we got. I'm going to show you the photo again of the finished product because over there on my stove the light's not as good and things look a little darker. But you can see that's a perfect golden brown. And I'm all ready to eat my nice simple dinner. I have here my version, a keto version of honey mustard, by the way. It's 1 tablespoonful of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoonful of mayonnaise, and 1/2 teaspoon of Sukrin. And look at that. There's my chicken. Hear that crunch? You know I always have to apologize for my table manners when I do that, but I want you to hear the crunch because, you know, it's fried chicken. It's supposed to be crunchy. I'm going to dip this in. Sorry I didn't show you mixing that up. It was kind of an afterthought. This is a really great sweet mustard. Of course, you know, we can't have honey on our low-carb diet. So that little bit of Sukrin brings a really great flavor. Now, I know I've been baking a lot with CarbQuick lately, and I just want to bring you this little warning about CarbQuick. It has a lot of fiber in it. So only you know how fiber affects you. But, so, take that into account how often you have it. But this is wonderful chicken. I mean, it's just good fried chicken and low carb, and you're going to like it. I hope you like it. I hope you try it. And I hope to see you again tomorrow on Debbie's Back Porch.